to a special additional segment of the Zach Lowe Show. Mat Ishbia, the governor of the Phoenix Suns and the Phoenix Mercury, joining us from the sparkling facility over there in Phoenix. How are you, sir?
Doing great. Good to be here with you.
It's always good to have people who are knee-deep in the inner workings of the big picture of the league, talking about expansion and all that. It's always good to get their insight. But first, I took the under on the Suns this year. I think it was 34.5. Took the under. Said the West is just too good. I have, as you probably know, we ran into each other in Vegas at Summer League, and you kind of gave me a little sly, like, I know some of the stuff you said. I have made great fun of your 26 out of 30 teams would trade rosters with us comment that you made, I think, before last season. So now's your chance. I took the under at 34.5, and your team is one of the feel-good stories of the season. 28-19, sniffing a top 6 playoff seed. Despite some injuries recently, Devin Booker and all of that, you said before the season, go ahead and sleep on us. We're going to be tough. We're going to have a defense-first toughness identity, a collectivity to us. We're going to be a team our fans like. I didn't listen. I took the under. Bill took the under. House took the under. So you saw it coming. How'd you see it coming? And this is your chance. Give it back.
Yeah, no, I don't need to give it back, but we're still building. We're not there yet.
Stop. Don't be polite. This is a podcast. Have fun.
Well, I'm having fun with it right now. The way our team is playing is fun. Like everyone talked about, we lost this guy and this guy. But the key thing was we defined an identity and a culture, which, to be fair, I should know better because I've been in business a long time. And I know no business works without a culture and identity and then holding people accountable to that. And so that's what we did. And you're starting to see the results. And it's not just like all you see on the court. It's also every part of the organization we've made some changes in to get the right type of people in that believe the same things, that we're completely aligned on it. And the results are there. But you know what? Once again, we're still early. This is not a 1-year turnaround. This is we're building a new identity here. I'm knowing the team for 40 plus years. So we're going to do this the right way, the long term. And the first 2.5 years, we didn't do these things. But now the kind of guys, like we said, what kind of guys we want, we traded for a Dillon Brooks, right? We got guys like Jordan Goodwin, who people slept on him, right? But then there's all these guys, Collin Gillespie, and of course we got the superstar Devin Booker, and we traded for a lot of the things we've done is we picked the type of identity and type of players we wanted, and then we built that, and it's working so far. But I'm not calling it success yet. We still got a long ways to go.
How are you approaching the trade deadline? Because obviously you walked in and you made an ultra aggressive trade right off the bat that has taken away some of your draft pick equity, but you are a good team. I assume making the playoffs or being a top 6 team would be just awesome for the fan base and for your franchise. You do have some stuff to move around. How are you approaching this?
We talked to everyone. A lot of teams are calling, but we love our team. Honestly, like once again, we're building something bigger than how many wins we got. I said that before the season. People gave me a hard time again about, what's success? How many wins? I said, listen, success is making sure that our team plays the way we talked about. Like I said, we're going to play tougher. We're going to rebound. Like, I come from Michigan State basketball, and we're going to do some of those things, but we have our Phoenix Suns spin to it, the Suns way. And so I love our team. We're taking calls, but then honestly, I don't think we're a big mover. I think our team's very competitive right now. We like the vibes, the energy. We like the direction. We have a young team. Like last year, we had one of the oldest teams. I got 7 guys that are 24 and younger that are actually playing and actually making an impact. And so we're excited about the growth. So we're not doing anything crazy, but we are very active. We have picks. We have things we can move around. But right now, I feel good about where we're at.
You have been linked. I know you can't say players' names, but you have been linked to a power forward in the Eastern Conference who went to Michigan State and has some bad stuff in his past track record off the court. Is there any truth to that?
Well, I'll tell you that I know that guy that you're referencing, and he's a great player and a winner on the court. He believes in a lot of things we do, but there's nothing, like I said, there's nothing to it right now. Like I said, there's nothing even close that we're talking about. And I know there's a lot of bigger trades that a lot of teams are talking about now that are maybe going to hold up the rest of them, but we really do. And I know it's not fun to talk about because you got a podcast, you want to hear, but the truth is we like our team. We like our guys. If a good opportunity came up, whether it's a position that we need, but it's got to be aligned with the age that we're building and the toughness and the type of guys we want on and off the court. And so we're not looking at anyone that does not fit that mold.
You sit courtside most games, if not every game, right? At home?
Yep, absolutely.
What's your best Dillon Brooks story, either from watching him get under a player's skin or a conversation you had with him either when you got him or after a game and when there was a Dillon Brooks incident? Like, give me a good Dillon Brooks insiders only story.
Man, he's by the way, like the exact identity that we believe in. Like, I love Dillon. Everything about Dillon Brooks is exactly what I believe. I love hearing what he says to the rest. And the thing to me is he says the exact same thing, maybe with a little bit of intensity to the ref that someone else says, and he gets a T for it, right? He gets some of these things. And so, but Dillon Brooks, the thing that people don't know about him, he's not only this ultra fierce competitor that people talk about, this tough guy. He's one of the hardest guys. You go into the gym right now, that guy comes in before and after. He's a grind. There's a reason he's scoring 7-8 points a game more than he did last year. And obviously the opportunity, but he is a worker. And so the thing I did not know about him is that the drive and the work ethic that he has is beyond just the toughness exterior that a lot of people talk about.
Are you surprised about Gillespie and how good he's been? I mean, he's legitimately been like a plus starter who you're running plays for. Like, the team runs plays for him to shoot threes, to get off the drill. He's been awesome.
I love Collin. He's been underestimated his whole career. I mean, he barely got into college and got recruited by Villanova, then won a championship there. He won a championship in Denver. He's a winner. Surprised by maybe some of the stats and the level, maybe, but not surprised by the kind of guy. The guy was here all summer. He didn't leave all summer. He got his first contract, like no two-way, and he's earning it, and he's going to earn the next one, which is awesome.
Okay, big picture. You walk in the league, and you make a Durant trade right away. Bridges, Cam Johnson. I forgot Crowder was involved, and I was rereading Ramona and Woj wrote this big piece like inside how the Kevin Durant trade came down when I was still at ESPN. And I had forgotten that Crowder, at least according to that piece, was like one of the last things that got put in the trade.
He didn't even show up. I never met him because he wouldn't even show up. He was sitting out the year, if you remember.
That's right. I forgot about that.
So
That's
he wouldn't
right.
even come to he wouldn't even show up. I mean, I bought a team that I didn't even know what was going on with. He wouldn't show up.
But there were, in that story, there's phone call after phone call. There's midnight phone calls. Like, when was take me into the moment where I think you were in New York or something. Maybe, no, I don't know where you were, but like you were, when's the call where like, all right, we're actually doing this? Like, what are your memory? Where are you? What's going on?
Yeah, the trade kind of went, so I just bought the team but it got announced a couple months earlier. So me and James Jones were talking, and the big thing with James, and I love James Jones, was like, the previous owner, who I have nothing, I'm not going to say anything bad about, but they just said he wouldn't go into luxury tax. And so James said, like, well, we have a good team. We were like the 8 seed. Everyone likes to remember that we were the NBA Finals team, but we had just lost in the semifinal, Western Conference semis the year before, and we were about the 8 or 9 seed right when I actually bought the team in February. And he's like, listen, if we can go over the luxury tax and we can go make a run at the championship. I said, listen, money's not going to hold us back. Let's go compete for a championship. In retrospect, it wasn't the right move. It didn't work. And that night when we made the decision to do it, there's a lot of different things moving. But the way I look at it is like, we're going to try to win. We're going to try to compete. So I'm okay taking a shot and missing. I'm not one of the guys that's be like, okay, let's tear it down and spend 7 years trying to like build it back up, get picks in 2034 and figure it out. Like, that's just not my personality. And so I was okay with the strategy that we went with. But what I learned from it was that's not how you win in any business. Definitely in the basketball business, you got to build it the right way with the right people and the right identity. And so we kind of pivoted pretty quickly. And I know people didn't think we could pivot this quickly, but we have, and it's working pretty good from my perspective.
Now, it's interesting to say, that's not how you win in the basketball business, because you are not a governor and owner who came into this league with no basketball experience. You played at Michigan State. You have lived and breathed basketball your entire life. Isaiah Thomas was your idol growing up. So, why? I guess what surprised you about why it didn't work, and when did you realize, it's not working?
So the kind of answer that question, like the thing that surprised me. So I'm a all heart, no talent basketball player. I was lucky to be the worst player on that Michigan State basketball championship team, and I would work my butt off to just to get the uniform. The
30-30-30 club, which I had never heard about before. You were, according to Tom Izzo, a member of the 30-30-30 club. Do you remember this?
Well, you got to be up by 30 with 30 seconds left. Is that what it was? I don't know.
You got to be either up by 30, down by 30, or there's 30 seconds left in the game, or maybe all three, one or two of the three.
Yeah, that's when I got in, and the crowd used to chant my name. So I loved it. That was like fun, and Michigan State was great. But here's what I learned is just like hitting a great 3-point shot or athleticism, those are talents and those are skills. so is caring about winning, and so is working hard and like playing hard all the time. And what I learned is not all players, NBA, really anywhere, but NBA players have those. And so like what we had to define is like, all I assumed is like, you got to care. Like, everyone cares about winning. Like, I don't care about, like, all I want to do is win in everything I do. And so that was something that was different for me, is that like, you got to realize there's 400 players. Like, everyone has their own way of living and different things. Like, all I think about is like, let's go dive on the floor. Let's go bloody our chin up, whatever it is. Like, that's how I knew and grew up. And that's what I think was different than I thought from the NBA versus college versus high school where I grew up. But we're getting those types of players, and that's what we're about here in Phoenix.
Is Isaiah Thomas involved at all? Everyone is always endlessly curious about this. Like, he was supposedly in the coaching interviews back when you were looking at, I don't know if that was the Bud cycle or the Jordan Ott cycle, but what is his level of involvement? He has no official title, correct?
No, Isaiah is a friend of mine. I talked to Isaiah just like I talked to Tom Izzo, just like I talked to Draymond Green. I talked to all my basketball connections through my life. I talked to. There's nobody has a formal title, but just like anyone, like if someone bought a mortgage company and they would call me and be like, "Hey, Matt's my friend. What would you do?" I would, I'll give my thoughts. I talk to people and I bounce things off people. But Isaiah has no formal title. Isaiah's a great guy. I think he's got a lot of great insights. But just like Tom Izzo does, and just like you do, probably, Zach. Like, I talk to people all the time about basketball, about leadership, about culture, and I take a little bit of everything. I take a lot from my mortgage company. I try to apply it, and we'll see how it turns out.
There was, as you probably know, when you were searching for a coach, there was some snickering, like, well, of course he's going to hire Jordan Ott, like Michigan State above all else. But I've known Jordan for a while. He's a really good basketball thinker, like creative, tough basketball thinker. What did you learn about, like, what did you ask in some of the interviews? What were you curious about? And what did he say or do or articulate that swung you, other than like the Michigan State thing?
Yeah. So the funny thing is, like, the media likes to play up the Michigan State thing. I didn't know Jordan Ott from Michigan State. I never met Jordan. I met Jordan Ott one time for maybe a minute before the interviews. Like, I don't know Jordan Ott like that. I don't have his phone number. Jordan Ott earned that job. He deserved it. We went through 17 candidates. He was 7 years at Michigan State. He was also 12 years in the NBA after that. And, what triggered me, like, we talked about alignment. Like, I had to set this identity vision. Jordan, maybe because of his Michigan State background, maybe because of who he is, he believes a lot of the same things that I've been talking about. Like, we're going to go out, tough them. We're going to play hard all game long. We're going to rebound. We're going to defend. We're going to be good guys. We're going to, like, stick up for our guys in fights. We're going to be great teammates. Like, things that I believe, he believed. Whether you want to say Michigan State connection, but same with Brian Gregory, which, of course, he worked at Michigan State too. So people like to play it up. But quite honestly, I didn't care what people thought anymore, because you know what? When I tried doing it everyone else's way, trade for a star player, go over the luxury tax, nobody gave us any love. Everyone shit on us, said we sucked, and it wasn't fun. This is fun. My type of people doing it our type of way, the Suns' way now, and a lot of it ties to Michigan State. But guess what? My CEO, who's a great guy, he went to Michigan, which you know how much I hate Michigan. Right. And like, so he has to be pretty good. He has to be aligned with us too. Like, we're about the right thing, and it's got nothing to do with where you came from. It's about where we're going together.
Did you feel like you were doing it the way, quote, you just said, like, everyone thought you should do it, go for a star player? Was that like in your mind of like, well, this is the way, that this is the sexy way to do this?
My mind when I bought the team was, and this is where I messed up. It was like, oh, like, they have a good team, a good organization. Let's give them the money that they need, the luxury tax, and let's go win a championship. That's not how it works, right? The Mercury, my women's team, was the worst team in the league. So I said, okay, screw this. We're the worst team in the league already. When I bought the team, we're going to get a new GM, new coach. We're going to start this thing and build it the right way. And we just made a run to the WNBA finals last year. And so when I bought the NBA team, I tried to don't do the new owner syndrome, don't get too involved. And I know everyone said, oh, he's so involved with everything. Guess what? If you thought I was involved before, you could say that. I'm extremely involved now. Every detail now. Like, now you can say that owner is a pain in the ass. He's involved with everything. Enjoy it, because I'm involved with every detail from, like, I'm out watching film on players, but when we talk about signing a free agent point guard and they give me a couple different people, I ask a bunch of questions, and then we end up signing Jamari Bouye, who's doing a hell of a job on the two-way, rather than a bunch of names that people think we should be taking, because he fits our mold. and our identity. And same thing with the Jordan Goodwin versus Jared Butler. And Jared Butler's a great player, nothing disrespectful, but he scored 35 points in a preseason game. Everyone thinks we're going to keep Jared Butler over Jordan Goodwin. I said, let's talk about who we are. Jordan Goodwin defines us. He's our identity. We're keeping Jordan Goodwin. And so I'm extremely involved now. And I learned that if you want to be great at something, especially because I have a basketball bar, I can be involved and I'm going to be involved. And it might not always work, but it didn't work the way we did it the first 2.5 years. It's working better now.
So forget the pivot from KD to this. Zoom even further out than that. What has surprised you most about the reality of owning an NBA team on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis? Or what have you learned that you didn't expect to learn? Like, what's something that you just like, man, I had no idea it was going to be like that?
You know, I'm extremely competitive, and I have good days in my mortgage business. We're the largest mortgage company in the country, 4 years in a row. I have good days, and we have some days that aren't great, right? The difference is when I have a day that isn't great, nobody knows. Now my world is we lose a game, someone gets hurt. Like, it's so public and it's so intense and so many, like, everyone has an opinion, everyone has a thought, everyone has their perspective, and you get it from everywhere. And so what's different to me, I knew it was notoriety, but me putting myself out there and us saying, like, we're going to go try to compete, like, the amount, I hate losing. And so when you lose a game, you got 82 games. I tell my kids, they go to school, like, guys, even if we have a great year, we're going to probably lose 30 games. That's how it goes,
How old are your kids?
15, 12, and 11.
So I always wonder that, like Nico Harrison has kids, right? Like, and they had to deal, like, so you prime them for, I mean, obviously things are great now with the Suns, but your kids probably have to have thick skin, or they get asked a lot of questions about the Suns, harmless questions, I'm sure, but it's going to come up all the time for them.
It comes up all the time. And like, how do you prepare them for it? I have no idea. I've never sat in that shoe. I've never been a 12-year-old boy or 15-year-old boy, or, like going through that, 11-year-old boy. Like, I'm going through this with them. And my daughter has to deal with it. But that's part of life. They have a lot of privileges and a lot of benefits, and you get a lot of questions. But, the thing that people don't realize about my kids is when you say something bad about Devin Booker, they look at that as like their big brother, not as like Devin Booker, you missed the game winner. And my kids are like, don't talk about my brother like that. Like, it's family. And so that's hard for other kids that don't own a team. How would they know that? And so my kids deal with it, but they're okay.
Do you get tired of talking about basketball in non-basketball parts of it? Because what you're mentioning is, I remember in the aftermath of the Luka trade, and I'm talking about like months, everybody I knew that worked for the Mavericks, like business people who had nothing to do with the trade at all, they would be like, Zach, I can't go anywhere. Every stupid party I go to, everyone wants to ask, like, what about the Luka trade? Why did that happen? It's like, it's because that's the public nature of it. I guess that's why you all make this amount of money, because fans really care.
Yeah, they really care, which is great. It's a privilege and an honor. I love that they care so much. Now we got to deliver, and I bet it'll be even 10 times better when you're winning and having success. But yeah, people challenge it. What you always know is everyone has an opinion, everyone has a thought, and I don't mind talking. I'll talk basketball with you all day or anybody all day. It's fun.
I say that to people too. I have friends who are like, you must be tired of talking about basketball. I'm like, look, if I get tired of talking about basketball, I got to change jobs, because this is all I do. Are you pro NBA expansion into markets X and Y, probably in your conference, or not so sold because of the economics of it?
I'm pro. Obviously, we're going to have a meeting about it and go through detail, but I support the growth of the game. Like there's a couple of great cities in America that need basketball teams, and it'd be great to get them there, expand the game. Like, I love basketball. I want it to be expanded globally, nationally. So I'm on the side of growing the game and economics. Like, I'm not a chase dollars guy. I'm a chase success, chase domination, and money always follows. And so, like, some people will want to get really detailed on the economics of it. That's not my thing as much, but obviously I'm part of 29 other owners that will have to negotiate and discuss that here soon.
Where do you think it is? Just ballpark what the vote would be right now.
Oh, I have not talked to enough owners. I think it's in favor, but I don't think it's in favor by a lot, to be honest with you. I think so. I don't know how many has to be to actually to get it over the hump.
All right. You have full access to Adam Silver anytime you want. If you had a basketball conversation with him, like, Adam, I am really passionate, like, this rule stinks, or I want to change this rule, or this it's a basketball thing. Like, just to either you really think this should be part of the game, or you really think this should be legislated out of the game. I'll give you my example. My dream, not dream, but like the one I keep hammering on is, I think the number one seed should be able to pick its opponent in the first round of the
I love
playoffs.
it. I love
That's mine. So give me something like that from your perspective.
I love it. I've actually brought that exact idea up to Adam and the team there, by the way. So I love your idea. That's great. Here's what I'd say differently. Two of them. One's a little selfish is I hate the 16 technical suspend a player rule.
Well, yeah, now you say now you got to hate it.
I do hate it now because my guy, he's getting too close. But seriously, I would actually even out the schedule, have the top 16 teams play, no more East-West, 1 through 16. You seed them. No more, I play Oklahoma City 5 times and I play, so-and-so in the East 2 times. Like, I would say everyone plays everyone 3 times, 1 through 16. Like, travel's easy. We don't need to do this back. And we don't need to go 4 and 2. And let's actually see who the best team is and compete 1 through 16. And I don't mind your idea of let the top teams pick. That would be pure drama watching that on TV. But 1 through 16, I would do that. No conference.
Okay, interesting. That's been proposed, as you know, like every 5 years, like clockwork, that idea comes up. And the coastal teams are among the reasons it never gets anywhere is the coastal teams. It's like a blood issue for those teams. Like, we're just not, we don't want to get caught in cross country over and over and over again. But, look, there's pluses and minuses to everything, right?
Yeah. Even the WNBA does it, by the way, right? The WNBA does it. They only got 8 teams in the playoffs, but the WNBA does that. That's how that runs. And we're going from Phoenix we played New York in the first round of the playoffs this year. And somehow the WNBA made it work. Why can't the NBA make it work?
All right, I have a challenge for you as a non-basketball challenge. You ready? 60. When the economic collapse / housing collapse happened in 2008, I was working at a financial legal trade publication with zero background in any of this stuff, and I had to learn mortgage-backed securities and all this stuff super fast in 60 seconds or less. What the hell happened? And in another 60 seconds or less, are we at risk of it ever happening again?
Good. So first off, what happened? What happened was it was the wild, wild west. There was no rules. There was very little licensing. There was people could kind of come into markets, and it was not as regulated, which some people don't like. I actually like the regulation on the mortgage business because it protects all the homeowners and the companies involved. So there was no rules. It was the wild, wild west. We were very small back then, our company, so it didn't affect us as much. And also, at the end of the day, it's just do the right thing. I'm not lending you $200,000 house, $200,000 on a house that's worth 170. That's common sense. Do the right thing. That makes no sense to do. That blew up the economy. Now, why will it never happen again? To give credit, even though a lot of people are interested, do not like the CFPB and the regulators, they put in some good rules to basically stabilize the industry. You're never going to see that again where the housing collapse, where everyone's house went down and people were losing foreclosures. That was a horrible, horrible time. That will not happen again. I actually don't like. A lot of people are like, the housing values are come down. They ain't coming down. Housing values are going to continue to go. They might not go up 10% a year. They'll go up 2 to 3% a year. But I think the mortgage market is stable and solid right now. The housing market is, and I think those were anomalies and crazy things that happened. It won't happen again.
Has there been any thawing at all in the Mat Ishbia Dan Gilbert feud?
Yeah, Dan. So listen, Dan and I, extremely competitive. He's not as we're the biggest mortgage company in the country now, 4 straight years. So they don't probably like that. But the truth is, he's a nice man. We're not fist fighting when we see each other. We shake hands, say hello. And I want him to be successful, just not in the mortgage business. And obviously when we play their basketball team, I want to beat their basketball team. I don't have it's not like this, we're going to see each other and we're going to fight. We're fine. I like him. He's always respectful. His kids are respectful. He's nice to my kids. We have a good relationship. People oversell it, but we do want to beat him in the mortgage business, and we have for 4 straight years.
Do you watch League Pass, or not League Pass, but are you watching games a lot?
Oh, yeah.
How do you watch? Do you watch teams that you guys are playing coming up soon, or do you have teams you just like, I love to watch Denver with Jokic, or what do you like?
I watch the teams that are impacting our seeding and where we stand in the West. So I'm watching Western Conference teams. Occasionally I'll watch a team if we're about to play ahead of time, but most of the time I'm watching the games on. If our team's not playing, I'll flip through a couple of the games of Western Conference teams. You see who's playing. Oh, San Antonio's playing Houston. Okay, that's 2 teams that we're going to see a lot. So I watch that game, and I enjoy basketball. I love basketball.
You were a Pistons fan growing up. What team did you hate the most?
So I was always a Bad Boys fan, the Pistons my whole life. We didn't like the Bulls. We didn't like, I was never a Jordan person in the Bulls. They're obviously great. When Dennis Rodman went there, it was hard because I love Dennis Rodman. That's just that type of guys I like. But I was just always a Pistons fan. We played the Lakers, the Celtics, and the Bulls. That's when I grew up, that little era of those four teams competing. But I didn't have hate towards any team, but I was always whatever the Pistons were, whatever Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman, that crew, that was my crew.
I liked those teams. I was one of the rare non-Pistons fans who found them. I just liked their style. I liked when they walked off the floor instead of shaking hands when they finally lost to the Bulls. I actually thought that was kind of a badass move. I don't know why. Now you and Joe Dumars are like, when did it stop being weird for you to talk to Joe Dumars about basketball and like trades or whatever?
It's still cool. Like I love what I do. I just turned 46. I have the best life where I get a chance to talk to these people, like Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas, and like talk to these guys. But even guys I've looked up to in the league recently, like it's so cool to see guys and coaches and people that are, and players. I love it. I enjoy it. So it's not ever not weird. I got to sit with a game with Charles Barkley the other day. He came and watched the Suns with me. Like that is so cool for me. Like, just that's fun. So I'm loving it. But at the same time, I'm obviously, in Joe Dumars' case, we're on opposite sense because he's now with New Orleans. And so we're competing a little bit too.
All right. Last one. Just give me one thing, second half of the season, whether it's your team, whether it's where Giannis goes, whether it's anything you want in the NBA that like you have a really sharp eye on. Like I'm really watching this, or I want us to get better at this, or I want Giannis to not go here. Like what's on your mind?
So I'm really watching some of the big moves from the trade perspective. I think the last couple of years, the Western Conference has gotten top picks and a lot of things have gone. And so it's interesting to see, will Giannis go west? Will, if Ja gets moved, is he going west? Is he going east? And how it moves. Because I think back to my 1 through 16 idea, I think there's there's obviously, it's obvious it's not equal right now. And so it's interesting to watch that. So I watch it very closely. But, let's not be foolish. There's a lot of great teams in the East, a lot of great teams in the West. But I watch the Western Conference very closely because that's who we're competing with to one day get to the NBA Finals and one day compete for a championship.
It's funny. I now have another. You walked into another last question, so it's your fault. But I was I was on the phone with the GM yesterday, and we were talking about Giannis and where he was going to go and whether he was going to go west. And so I would say this is a very smart GM. He said, "By the way, we've never had this conversation. What's your theory on why the West is still so much better than the East? Because we've been more or less a continuous last 30 years of, a blip here and there, but the West has just been a better conference." And I said, well, the popular theories are better owners, more markets that players want to go to, warm weather, et cetera, tax advantages in some places, although not others like California, but definitely in Texas. And then he said, those three, I think it's parts of that. He said, the fourth one is, like the number one draft pick in the right years has flipped to the Western Conference team is in randomly, like it happened again with Wembanyama and it happened again with Cooper Flagg, and just some big trades have been east to west. And he's like, if this happens again with Giannis, like, do you have, is this come up in your ownership circles of like, why should this be that one conference is just better than the other all the time?
Yeah, we've talked about it. So it does come up, and we do discuss like why is there imbalance? That's why my idea is like, why are we even talking about it? Like, let's just let teams play basketball. There's 30 teams. But yeah, there's different various ideas. I think you talk about weather. I think you talk about ownership. I don't know. You talk about people willing to spend, people willing to, that are trying to compete and win. I don't know all the details. I guess my perspective is I always think it will balance out, like things regress to the mean. But your point is, been 20 plus years that maybe it hasn't really. So I don't have a great theory on it besides some of the things, the 3 or 4 you said are probably right on, but it could be any one of them. But the draft pick one is interesting because that's luck, and that's nothing you can control. I think some of the top teams this past year were all Eastern Conference teams, as in the worst record. And the top 2 picks, Dylan Harper and Cooper Flagg, went west. And so that's luck of the draw. In the next 30 years, it could flip the other way too. So who knows? But, I watch it. I'm very involved with it, and I care a lot about it, as you can imagine.
All right, Mat Ishbia, you've given me more than enough for your time. You've been a good sport. I have poked fun at the 26 out of 30 comment a lot, but you know what? It's your time to shine now. I hope you guys keep it going. It's been I mean, I've said this before, so I'm not just saying it because you're here. One of the best stories to watch, one of the most fun teams to watch. And, that I'm not, is there a championship nucleus here? But maybe not. But like, this is step one, right? And it's been super fun to watch, and it's a fun NBA story.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think the key for us was being able to flip it quickly, as you talked about, and it's fun, and it's a good NBA story, and we're also young, and we're going to keep getting better. So I'm proud of it. We're excited about it, but we got a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, it's people have said, there was an ESPN story about a month ago about these superstar trades and how they often don't work out the way they want. And they said, well, as you talk to teams, the Suns come up as a cautionary tale, the place you don't want to go to. And I said, well, that's true, but shouldn't they also be like an inspirational tale of they're 10 games over 500 right now. Like it did pivot fast. And I think there is something to that. Like if you do, you can get competitive. You can get decent and competitive pretty fast. And you guys have proven that.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a 10-year tank job to rebound from going for it, if you think of it that way. And so, yeah, I think it's a good tale. Obviously, I've learned a lot, and I'll keep getting better. But it's good to hear you and listen to you always. Thanks for what you do as well, and good chatting a little bit NBA with you.
I'll see you down the road. Mat Ishbia, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Must be 21 or over in present and select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with the Kansas Star Casino, or 18 and over in present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.